Well, world oil prices are not likely to repeat last year's record spike in the near term. This is coming from Credit Suisse analysts who say that the global recession has changed fossil fuel demand that's going to keep prices moderated over the long term. Margaret Ryan heard Chief Global Strategist Jonathan Wilmot and research analyst Mark Flannery talk about their outlook on commodity prices today. Margaret.
Hi, Susan. Well, these experts see global oil demand pressure easing significantly, and they see no shortage of supply. The big change, demand had been growing at pretty steadily at 1.8% a year from the mid-90s up until 2007-2008. But last year, demand actually shrank, and usage dropped back to about 2004 levels for U.S. oil. And while demand is expected to resume growing next year, it will be worldwide just 1% annually until about 2016, or at least until then. And that's likely to keep prices in the $75 to $85 range, they say. Now, Flannery cited several factors with that, including increasing use of LNG in Asia. But one big surprise was their prediction that U.S. gasoline demand has actually peaked. They say it reached its highest level ever in 2007, and they say it has peaked forever. They cite the new federal CAFE standards that are coming out that should drive gasoline consumption down on average about 1% annually from now to 2020. And they said if the full renewable fuel transportation standard is met, with second-generation biofuels substituting for gasoline, that could add another 2.5% annual reduction. Now, that altogether may not sound like all that much, but the U.S. is the world's largest gasoline user. Cutting gasoline that much translates into reducing U.S. oil usage 1% per year, and of course the U.S. uses nearly 25% of global oil.
Right. Well, Margaret, what has been behind the big push in oil since the beginning of this year?
Well, they cited things like the weakness of the dollar, which has certainly had an effect, and expectation of China's recovery. As it seems to be turning that big economy around, they do have a big imported oil demand. But the analysts said, you know, the price is really running ahead of the data points. That was their phrase. It's on expectations of economic recovery, they say. They say there is lots of spare production capacity upstream and downstream, so they simply don't expect any big movements in prices over the next several years to be supported. If the price starts to get too high or too low, other factors will come into play and push it back toward the middle.
Okay, Margaret Ryan, thank you.